Hello again, it is I. Again, I am here to not talk about MLMs, that was the last one, but I am here to answer some of the pending posts that we have here in the group. So let me go ahead and pull up my 1 second. I'm losing my comments here. Da 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 da. Sorry, thought I was ready and I lost my comment block. I just want to make sure that... Here we go. Good. I just want to make sure that when you guys comment that I'm able to see what you are saying. So I'm all set now. And I also want to be able to link people as well. And I'm not sure if I can actually do that. I was able to do this before. Okay. I guess I'm not as prepared as I thought I was. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. I was trying to tag somebody. Give me 1 second. I just want to be able to tag people as they come in. And I realize that I, first of all, lost my comments. And then I'm unable to actually tag people in the comments. Okay, so Shauna had a question wanting to know about essential oils that help with circulation. There, I was able to, perfect. Okay, so for essential oils that help with circulation, there are certain essential oils that are circulatory, and they are going to stimulate circulation. And some of those are going to be, peppermint, for example, that's high in menthol, that can often stimulate circulation. As well as what is typically known as the hot essential oils, like clove essential oil and cinnamon bark essential oil and even cinnamon leaf essential oil, which tend to have very low topical maxes, but they can help stimulate circulation as well. They tend to have safety issues as well. So Shauna, if you could let me know the age of the person, if they're on medications, any of that, more information for the person that you are asking about that needs help with circulation, that would be great. What kind? I mean, I just need more details to be able to better help you. You also mentioned that someone you know has neuropathy from diabetes, and if there's an essential oil that can help with that. So I did some research a few years ago as there was a family member who needed help with neuropathy, and I did a lot of investigating at the time. Cosanol, and found that there is a supplement that actually helps really well with neuropathy. And that is basically when you are losing feeling in like your toes and your fingers. And essential oils that are circulatory can help with that, but taking a supplement sometimes can help even better. So there is a supplement I'm going to link you to. It's called polycosanol, and this is something that can be helpful when it comes to dealing with neuropathy. And this family member, it was a close friend of the family, actually ended up having really great results from this particular product as well. And they were not the first person that I suggested this to that actually had great results. This particular brand is the brand that I have found to be a very clean brand, and that is the one that I recommend, but you might find other brands that could be useful as well. But for convenience, there you go with a link to the one that I recommend. Hey Lexi, hey Perla, hey everyone that's hopped on here. I'm answering some pending questions in the group that may be a little bit tricky to answer and may not have the best tagging post when it comes to places to put it in the group. The next question is from Amanda Lynn. We actually have quite a few Amanda Lynns here in this group, so now I have to look at the profile picture to make sure that I'm actually grabbing the right one. And as it happens, unfortunately, the one that's asking is not the one that's popping up. Oh boy, so I'm going to have to deal with that later. But Amanda was asking, she says, I understand that many essential oils are caustic and will leach or even dissolve plastic, but every diffuser I've seen is plastic. Why is that? So yes, you will find most diffusers are plastic. And the issue with essential oils eating through plastics is when they are undiluted. So you never want to purchase an essential oil if it's in a plastic container. I've actually never seen that, but I'm sure it can happen. You want to make sure that when you are purchasing your undiluted essential oils that they are in glass. Now, if you have them diluted, you can absolutely use plastic. Particularly PET plastic is going to be best. It's a very hard plastic. But even the softer plastics, the softer squeeze bottles, and especially silicone that comes from sand, those can definitely be used when diluted as well. So as long as your essential oil is diluted, you can use it. That means you're going to add a dilution to a carrier oil, and the carrier oil is going to be the bulk of the product that you are creating. Now, as far as diffusers go, when they are being used, when you put the power on and they start bubbling up, the essential oil is going to sort of somewhat mix with that water and be bubbly, and they're not generally going to touch against the side of the diffuser. Now, the diffusers that I have, they are very hard PET plastic, BPA free, and they do not, the sides are not being eaten up by the essential oils at all. So you are putting mostly water in there, and then you're putting about 5 drops, maybe sometimes 10 drops of essential oil in there, and they're floating on the surface, but then they're bubbling as you put it on. The water is being disturbed so that they are being diffused into the air, and they are not necessarily touching the sides of your diffuser. Even if it were to eat up the side of the diffuser a little bit, which I haven't seen happen, but in theory that's possible, that's not really hurting anything really. I mean, it's not going to make your diffuser not work. So that is something that you can hopefully find some answer in. So Melissa has a question about having, let me just tag you first. Okay, so Melissa says, my almost 3-year-old boy sucks at aiming at the toilet. Now my hallway bathroom smells like a public restroom even after cleaning it. Tile flooring. Any essential oil mix you recommend to soak or spray to help with the smell? Yes, tea tree and lemon. That's what I would recommend. You can even use baking soda as well if you want to scrub it. I would also suggest hydrogen peroxide. That can also help. So I would definitely suggest that. And okay, here is a question. This is what I wanted to be able to show you guys here live and in person as well. Hey Dawn, thanks so much for joining. I wanted to show you guys over in our library, we have a bunch of different blends. And the next question from Andrea is asking specifically about the safety of a blend. Let me just make sure I'm tagging the correct Andrea Joy, because we do have a few. And it looks like we do not currently have the Plant Therapy Sweet Slumber Kid Safe Essential Oil Blend in our database, but I'm going to flip this around and show you guys what I do when I assess what is the safety of this blend. So here is eoblendsafety.com, where you come to the page here, and I have a listing of all of these brands. So there's 18 brands, 231 blends. I'm actually going to add some more blends tonight. It's been a week. All of these blends have been assessed for safety right inside here. Now, if you want free access, I do give you a sample by giving you the assessment for the 18 different blends right here. Just scroll down and you can check that out. So let me go ahead and check this out here. Let me just make sure. So your question is if this blend is safe for a 2-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, and if you can diffuse it for 60 minutes at bedtime. So let's go over here and check out the ingredients. Let me zoom in a bit too for those of you on your phone so that you can actually see a bit better. So it looks like there's cedar wood, camphor wood, orange, chamomile, and vetiver. So my question mark would be this camphor. There are 3 different kinds of camphor. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you. So this is ueoslibrary.com. In our safety files, I'm going to go ahead and show you the different kinds of camphor. Whoopsie, I clicked on the wrong thing. Oh, hang on one second. I clicked on the wrong thing. Here we go. This is the online version of the essential oil single safety files. So I'm going to click on C. I'm going to click on camphor and show you the different kinds. So when I'm seeing a blend here with camphor, Cinnamomum camphora, I look for that botanical name, and that is exactly what is here. Now, in the case of camphor, you can see there are actually different kinds, and all 3 of them have the same botanical name. So whereas normally you can tell the safety by checking the botanical name and looking it up and knowing, in this case, and it's the case with some essential oils, there are different kinds. We have brown, white, and yellow. Sometimes there are different chemotypes and variants that you want to look at as well. And the only way to know which one this is to contact the company and ask them if they know. And also if you can check the GCMS report to see what the contents are for camphor. Brown camphor, do not recommend that you ever use. It is potentially carcinogenic, not recommended to use in any form. We have white camphor, which does not have a topical max, needs to be diluted. That would be the preferred one. And then we have yellow camphor, which does need to be diluted a lot and can have some other adverse reactions and other things, as well as being potentially carcinogenic. So it really depends on what kind of camphor this is. So I cannot tell you just by looking at these ingredients which camphor it is, and whether or not that would be a safe one. We can assume it's the safe one. If you want to do that, that's fine, but we will not know unless we actually take a look at that GCMS report and or contact them for that information. As far as your question about is it safe to diffuse for 60 minutes at bedtime, we do recommend that you diffuse for 10 minutes on and 20 minutes off. You don't need to diffuse a full hour. This system of diffusing prevents olfactory fatigue, and it also prevents overstimulation. I know blends, particularly blends, and you actually asked about Nighty Night as well, which I will look up for you. There are certain blends that contain lavender, and if overdone, it can actually stimulate your children and cause them not to sleep, not to fall asleep as quickly. So it can actually have the opposite effect of what you are looking for. So again, 10 minutes on, 20 minutes off is my recommendation, or you can create a linen spray. That is something you can spritz on the bedding, and that smells delicious, and that is something that also can work. So let me go ahead and look at Nighty Night for you. I don't know, do I actually have this one in my blends section or not? This is a sneak peek, guys, into the paid. I do, yay! This is the paid EO Blends Safety. But I'm going to give you access right now as we are here live. This is the safety information for Nighty Night by Plant Therapy, as asked by Amanda, I believe it was, Andrea. So these are the essential oils. We have lavender, sweet marjoram, mandarin, cedarwood, patchouli, clary sage, Roman chamomile, and blue tansy. This is safe for all ages based on the essential oils included in this blend. Safe for pregnancy and breastfeeding. Also happens to be safe if you diffuse around your dog, not recommended around cats. You do want to avoid using if you have bleeding disorders before and after surgery, if you happen to be taking either one of these drugs. One of these essential oils is blood thinning. It is anticoagulant, so you want to be careful with that. And there, if you are taking some medications, you want to be careful depending on the medications you are taking. So that would be the safety of that blend. So I hope that was helpful, Andrea, in helping you to assess the safety and if you personally would be interested in purchasing or using this blend. Okay, so Nicole has a question about using essential oils that can be put in a diffuser or an inhaler that might help promote tissue healing in the nose. So let me tag her. Okay, so tissue healing in the nose. So you are basically wanting to know if inhalation alone will work. I need more information from you as far as what exactly is going on inside of your nose. But generally speaking, if you have a topical skin issue, you do want to apply those essential oils, diluted of course, to the skin itself to help. I don't believe it's going to be very effective if you're simply inhaling those essential oils instead of applying directly. If it's a harder to reach area, then maybe I can understand why you are asking that. But I really believe that topical use, you want to have those essential oils applied directly to the skin in order to help. But if you could give me more information, then I could better answer your question. Okay. Here's a question that could get a little bit complicated from Dana Marie. But let me just dive in and I will just let you know. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but it looks like it's probably a little bit... Oh, I can't... Oh, yes, I can. It's funny how many of you guys have the same exact name. When I'm trying to tag Dana Marie, there's like several of you in here. That's crazy. Okay, so she says, Leah, how are non-essential oil companies and government agencies being educated about essential oils? I was so frustrated this morning when I called Poison Control. They didn't know the difference between oil of oregano and oregano essential oil. To make things worse, the product I was calling about from the company CanPrev lists oil of oregano on the label, but the product description on the website mentions essential oils. The Poison Control person was thoroughly confused, and I didn't feel the answer she gave me about my situation was reliable. How have you run into similar confusion on an organizational level with non-essential oil businesses and agencies? Yes, so this is not uncommon, unfortunately. Poison Control does not have a lot of knowledge about essential oils. They have pretty generic things to tell you about what to do. Some of them might actually tell you to go to the ER. Others may poo-poo it. They just don't have that education and that certification. I'm not sure how to get involved to the point where we are making everybody be educated about essential oils, but it really comes down to you as the parent knowing that, and I'm really glad that you were able to ask me, Dana, so that I can help you know. Now, unfortunately, it is super confusing because there's no regulation of essential oils. There are companies that list oregano oil when they mean oregano essential oil, and there's companies that say oil of oregano when they mean oregano essential oil. So just because it says oil doesn't mean it's an essential oil, but it could mean it's essential oil. So there is no regulation. So the only way to know is to contact that company directly and ask them, is this an essential oil or is this an infused oil? Now, generally speaking, when they do say oil of oregano, typically they're going to mean the infusion of oregano into a carrier like olive oil, generally speaking. But not all companies use the same terminology. In fact, I've seen other aromatherapists online simply say like eucalyptus oil when they clearly mean the essential oil. To me, it should be very clear. It should be eucalyptus essential oil, oregano essential oil, and if they mean the infusion, then they can drop essential and just use oil. If you have an infused olive oil with lavender, you can call it lavender oil because it's lavender infused in an oil. But yeah, unfortunately, there's no regulation, so there's nobody telling the companies exactly the terminology that they must use. So contact the company themselves and see if you can get to the bottom line of exactly what they have in their product so that you personally know, so that you then know how to properly use those products. Because the safety of an infused oil is going to be a lot different than the safety of the essential oil itself. Let's see. We have Kim, who is asking about about sinusitis basically. So let me go ahead and tag her. Alrighty. Let's see. Help, I am now with my second sinus infection in less than a month. Using my immunity roller. Please help. I tried medical route and steroids, did a temporary help. We just moved into a new house, required a lot of cleaning, and cleaners used chemicals. So, an immunity roller is not going to help you with a sinus infection. In fact, essential oils do not help with immunity. They can kill germs. You can diffuse antiviral and antibacterial essential oils into the air to help kill airborne germs. You can use them to kill germs on the surface of your counters. But as far as actual immunity, it's not going to help boost your immune system. So you want to look for herbs to help boost your immune system. That is also not exactly what you want to look for when dealing with a sinus infection. You want to look for essential oils that are actually going to help you with congestion and sinus issues. So we do have a post about sinusitis. Okay, so let me just make sure I have that correct. The link is correct. So you can go to usingeossafely.com/sinusitis, and this gives you some tips and information specifically on how to do a steam inhalation to help with sinus issues. And then also inside of our EO Recipes Club, we have more specific tailored custom information for you specifically if you choose to use essential oils. But there are some helpful tips on that link that I just gave you there that can be helpful for you. I would definitely consider the fact that you're in a new environment, you were using a lot of cleaners, there's a lot of dust, there's a lot of different things in the air, and that it may just take a little bit of time for your body to adjust to that. But I would definitely make sure that you use a steam inhalation and that you are diffusing or using anti-congestant, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial essential oils to help you with that. Okay. So Hannah has a question about, let's see. Oh, I'm seeing you guys are actually asking me questions as well. Perfect. Okay, give me a moment to answer Hannah, and then I will answer you guys that are here live. Thank you so much. Okay, so Hannah says, I know you aren't all big MLM fans. Don't know how she could have gotten that from that big crazy thread. But I was wondering thoughts on the doTERRA On Guard cleaner, and if you are not a fan, what alternative does it actually kill germs? So yes, the cleaner contains essential oils that are antibacterial, antiviral, great for germs, as well as, because it's a cleaner, it includes other non-essential oils, other things in it as well. I can speak to the safety of the On Guard blend itself, and let me go ahead and show you right in our EO Blends safety files. So let me flip this around and let me show you the safety. So this is members only paid access that I am going to go ahead and show you. You can also get a free version as well, which gives you access to a limited amount of these blends, but you can get an idea for what is in here. So I have taken the crazy amount of time to actually assess the safety of these different blends from different companies. So we have On Guard by doTERRA, which contains wild orange peel, which is the same as sweet orange, by the way, clove bud, cinnamon leaf, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus leaf, and rosemary leaf flower essential oils. So due to the safety of the individual essential oils themselves, the blend is safe for ages 10 and above, not recommended for pregnancy or breastfeeding dogs or cats. There are some safety issues, mostly around if you have bleeding disorders before and after surgery, if you are taking aspirin and other blood thinners, because it does contain blood thinning essential oils. There are some drug interactions that you want to be aware of if you are taking diabetes medication or whatever, you want to not use them internally, but there's also drug interactions, even with inhalation, that you want to be aware of. So keeping that in mind, you can, if those safety issues don't affect you personally, say you're not pregnant and you're not taking aspirin or any of that other stuff, you can choose to use that yourself. I would not expose your children to it that are under age 10. You can use it yourself, and it can kill germs. Something that's not going to be as expensive and that's going to be just as effective as if you made your own cleaner using hydrogen peroxide and then added tea tree and lemon essential oils to it. It's going to be a lot less expensive. It's not going to have all of the safety risk, but technically, yes, On Guard does, and all the Thieves blends from whichever companies, all the anti-germ blends from whatever company that you are with, can be used to kill germs. But they do have safety issues involved, so you want to definitely be aware of those before using them, just so that you know. Okay, so I am seeing your questions. Let me go to the first one I missed first. Okay, Lygia says, I have some notorious veins in my nose. I don't know if there's any essential oils can help with it. I'm not really sure what that means. I would be very careful using essential oils in the nose, even diluted, because we're talking about mucous membrane, so we want to be very, very careful, which is why I think the previous person asking about inhalation of essential oils to help with things in the nose, it's a legitimate question. Typically, we want to use essential oils topically. So if you could email me with a little bit more information, that would be helpful. That way I can just understand a little bit more about what's going on, and I can be better help to you. But you may need to see a doctor for that. Let's see. What about products that contain essential oils like body oil and moisturizers? It all depends on the safety of the individual oils themselves. So you can use body oil, you can use moisturizers. I'm not sure the context of this question because I'm a little bit late to reply. I'm sorry about that, Jenna. You can absolutely do that. Just make sure that the topical maxes are low if you're making your own. If you're talking about purchasing ready-made products, then you definitely want to make sure is it an infused oil, is it an essential oil, and then also what the safety is for those individual essential oils. So definitely look those up, and then also see if you can figure out what the dilution is that is used by the company. I prefer to add the essential oils myself to a plain unscented lotion, to a plain unscented moisturizer, or body cream or oil or whatever that it is. That way I know the exact essential oils that are going into it and the exact dilution, and that is going to make sure that I am using them safely for myself. Joe Jean is asking, hi, for diffusing 10 minutes on, 20 minutes off, how many cycles is it okay to do that for? You can pretty much do that the whole day. If you are finding that you are getting relief, I would probably shut it off after an hour or two, technically, because you are giving yourself that break. If you are dealing with heavy congestion, you can run it all day. But if you are noticing that you are getting relief after an hour or two and you shut it off and you're still good for a while, just do that. Less can be more. You want to use it enough that it's effective for you without overdoing it. But that would be a safe way to diffuse, would be 10 on, 20 off. For example, you can technically do that the whole night if you needed to. Other people some people may find that they do well with running it before they get into bed and then shutting it off and falling asleep, and they're fine. So I guess it would depend on exactly the health issue as well that you are dealing with too. Okay. So we have Will, which is... Oh, hi. I really don't see much information about aromatherapy necklaces. What is your opinion on them? I think they can be absolutely amazing. I personally love the jewelry from the Oily Amulets. I think some of you guys have probably heard me mention her before, but there is a link to the Oily Amulet, and she makes absolutely beautiful necklaces. She has some exclusive jewelry in there, stainless steel medical grade jewelry as well. So necklaces can be super useful for when you don't want to keep pulling an inhaler out, if you're dealing with congestion, if you're dealing with wanting to stay calm or focused, or whatever it is. You can put a drop or two in a pendant and wear it, and it's great. Some people also use bracelets to do that as well, and that can be a great way to also smell good, as well as dealing with whatever specific health issues or emotional issues or concerns that you want to. So yeah, as long as you are using essential oils that are safe for you, then that is absolutely fine to do. Patricia's asking if it's okay to apply pomegranate seed oil directly to face. Yes, that is exactly what I do. I love pomegranate seed oil. So here's the thing. It is a little bit tacky. It's a little bit stickier than most other oils out there, but it's amazing. It's wonderful, especially through the winter when you want to make sure that you are fully and heavily moisturized. It's just simply amazing. I absolutely love it. I actually pulled mine out a couple of weeks ago and started using that again lately and absolutely love it. As far as it clogging pores, just because it's sticky or tacky doesn't mean it's going to clog your pores. So I wouldn't worry about that. Thank you so much. It's fantastic. You are welcome. Brittany's asking, why do they offer beadlets of On Guard if the oils aren't safe to ingest? Because they can, because there's no regulation. That's why they can do it. Jenna's saying, yes, makes sense, especially when the oil contains peppermint. And I'm not sure, that got cut off. Danielle says, Brittany, why do they say 40 drops of oil in a 10 ml roller bottle diluted is okay? Listen, I cannot answer for you why people or companies do what they do. I don't know why they do what they do, except for ignorance, except for they simply aren't educated. And there's no regulation in this industry. People can say or do whatever to sell their products to you, to sell the essential oils to you. And they will say a lot of things simply out of ignorance. They're not intending to hurt you. But they want to sell essential oils, meaning the companies want to sell essential oils. The reps feel like that they want to share all the benefits and share the recipes and do all this, and they're not properly trained. They're just not properly trained, most of them, especially if they're giving you that sort of information. So why they do that, I don't know. They can do it. It's totally illegal for them to do it, which is why it's important that you yourself be educated. That way you can see that information and you can understand it's not safe, and then you personally aren't harmed by accepting that information. It's just like information about anything, whether it's vaccines, whether it's home births, whether it's cloth diapering versus disposable diaper, whatever. I mean, you will see opinions and recommendations for everything, smoothies, supplements, everywhere, and you just have to do your own research and decide for yourself if it's something that you want to do. And fortunately, this group is here to help you learn how to use essential oils safely so we can give you answers. So if you ever see something unsafe, or you don't even know if it's unsafe, if you ever see some recommendations just out there on Pinterest or on Instagram or on Facebook, run it by the group. We'll be happy to let you know. I am a certified clinical aromatherapist. I did get all the training necessary, plus all the experience, all the years after, and the constantly learning to help you understand how to use essential oils safely. And I don't sell essential oils. I'm not with doTERRA. I'm not with Young Living. I'm not telling you, here, buy this oil, do all this. I'm here to tell you how to use essential oils safely. Breastfeeding. I'm not sure what that means specifically. How many oils would you add into an unscented lotion? Or how much oils? Lexi, that would depend on what you are trying to help remedy. For example, if you have severe muscle pain, I might suggest 5 to even 20%. If you are simply if you're adding it to your face and wanting to help with acne, I might suggest 1%. So it's really going to depend on what you are trying to help with, as well as we need to take into account the essential oils topical max. So if you have a specific oil that you want to add, let me know. A specific essential oil that you plan on adding, let me know. Some of them do have a low topical max that you need to make sure you don't go over. If you have a specific situation that you are going to use it for, let me know. Because there is no, it's really specific to the issues that you have. So Jackie's suggesting 1% is 6 drops to an ounce of carrier. 2% is 12 drops to an ounce of carrier. That is correct. But to know exactly what the percentage is that you should be using depends on what the situation is. Jackie's saying jewelry is great when you have a cat or someone is sensitive to diffusing. You can put them on the jewelry and have it in your personal space. Absolutely right. Lexi's asking, have you ever heard of amber oil? I bought a sample of amber oil perfume. Just wonder your opinions on it if you've heard it. I haven't. I am not aware that amber can be made into essential oil. So I don't know if I'm not really sure what they do with it. So you'll have to let me know. Brittany's saying, I've been taking turmeric, peppermint, copaiba gel capsules, and a few others. Should I stop that completely, even though I'm not just taking straight drops of the oils? I would suggest, Brittany, I would like to ask you why you are taking them. That's what I would like to ask you. Is there a specific reason? Is there a benefit that you were looking to get out of that? Now, as far as ingesting, I'm going to give you guys a link here to my podcast, which I haven't done one in a long time, about ingesting. Now, adding essential oils to a capsule with a carrier oil and consuming that, or ingesting that is safer than adding them to water and using them straight. Yes, absolutely. Okay, it's not letting me edit this. Just give me a second here. It is safer, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's still going to be safe, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I would like to digestive issues and rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so as far as arthritis goes, you want to use those essential oils topically, and you can ingest herbal remedies. You can consume ground turmeric mixed with black pepper. You can consume ginger, like in a ginger tea, and that can help your body from the inside out. Essential oils are best used topically, especially when we are talking about pain. As for digestive issues, similar answer. Herbs can be amazing for digestive issues. You can use herbs internally, and that is something that's expected. You can take the capsules, you can take the teas, you can use tinctures. There are other ways that you can use those herbs internally to help with internal issues such as digestive issues. Now, that being said, because I'm not sure exactly what the digestive issues are, but IBS can be helped with peppermint essential oil when used internally. That is something I would recommend after trying other herbal remedies that are going to be safer and more effective, less risky. So when you ingest essential oils, you are adding a bit of risk to that. So we always want to make sure that we are weighing risk versus benefit, and that we are wanting to get more benefit and less risk. So for some situations, using peppermint internally, a drop or two in a capsule with a carrier oil, and using that can help with IBS for some people. You do want to make sure that that is an enteric coated capsule, so it makes it through into, past your stomach, so it doesn't get broken down there and into the intestines where it can help with IBS. But other digestive situations aren't going to be helped. And in fact, peppermint can actually make certain digestive situations worse. If you have heartburn, if you have GERD, then that's something you don't want to do. So yes, it can be done in certain situations, but you want to make sure that you are taking advice from somebody that knows you personally, that knows your health history, and can help better advise you whether that's something that you should do or not. But generally speaking, we want to go to herbs first when consuming things to help us. And for pain that is topical, we want to use essential oils topically. So that would be my suggestion for you. Okay, IBS. So turmeric is not something that I would consume, or copaiba. I wouldn't suggest consuming those for IBS. Peppermint could possibly help you with that. Fennel is great. Peppermint is good unless you have reflux. Fennel is great if we're talking about the herb. I do not recommend anyone ever use fennel essential oil, period. It is potentially carcinogenic, super low topical max. It has issues. Reproductive hormone modulator. I do not recommend fennel essential oil be used. It's just better stay away from it. But you can definitely use the herb. The herb, the spice, the seeds, all of that is something that you can absolutely use for digestive issues. That can be very helpful. Perfect. So I get to the end of those questions. Does anyone else that's here right now have any questions for me before I get off? If anybody else has any questions, I'll give you guys a minute because I know that Facebook is a little bit delayed from when I'm talking. Hey Danielle, so I get my information from, I am a certified clinical aromatherapist, and I'm going to give you a link to my podcast that explains how I got my education. I went to Aromahead Institute and went through the Scholars Program, which is more than 400 hours of learning, and I graduated in 2014, and 2013. There were different stages of that program, and I've continued to learn since then every day. This is what I do. Absolutely love it. I consume books. I further my learning all the time. So I have the certification to back up what I speak of. I think some people do chew the fennel seeds, but what I would recommend is simmering them in some water and making a tea out of them. That's what I would recommend. Yes, fennel tea, absolutely. I just want to make sure, Jackie, because some people may come on here and see that and make assumptions. And since we are an essential oil group, I just need to make sure that everybody understands the safety, especially when it comes to fennel essential oil, which is not safe at all. Okay, so a certified aromatherapist and a certified clinical aromatherapist. It depends on the length of training. So I went through Aromahead Institute's aromatherapy graduate program, which made me the certified aromatherapist. And then continuing through the Scholars Program after that is the advanced graduate program. It was the aromatherapy certification program. The ACP was first, and then the advanced graduate program, which was second. And then there were some other courses as well that were a little bit smaller, like viruses in the immune system and all of that, that I used to add to my hours to then fully graduate from the Scholars Program. So the CCA versus the CA is going to have a little bit more training. You can find more information on the Alliance for Aromatherapists. There we go. I'm going to get this link. There's AIA. There's also NAHA, which are aromatherapy. Let's see. You can find more information on that link, but basically they approve of different schools, whether they are a good school to go through, whether they follow through certain qualifications or not. And the school that I chose is actually approved by AIA and NAHA, and there's another aromatherapy organization too that Aromahead International is approved by. So they are the best school to go through when it comes to essential oils. And learning about aromatherapy in general. So that's what I would recommend. Okay. So somebody is posting on here. I can't see who on Facebook, but I am able to see them on my comments through my eCam. So I don't know your name. I'm sorry. But you're asking what proof is there about ingesting? Can you post proof and not just my knowledge? Yes. So if you go to that link that I posted before, and I will post it again, you can find some information more about ingesting. Here's the thing. I would love to have some proof from those of you who like to ingest that it's safe. Because right now, all you guys that are ingesting, you are all guinea pigs right now. We have nurses and people that work in the ER in this group that see people come in. I'm not going to say every single day, but they see people come in through their hospitals and their ERs with damage. There's many of you in this group that have had damage from ingesting. Essential oils are highly concentrated. So it's really, if you think about it, it's all about basic science. And when we consume something that's highly concentrated, we can expect that there's going to possibly be some issues. There are just certain things that we are not going to use, in our water added. Oil and water doesn't mix. I mean, we all learned that in grade school. Oil and water doesn't mix. So when you have something highly concentrated oil in your water, hitting your insides at full concentration, there's no surprise when most of us feel irritation, burning, soreness, people get ulcers. That's just the way it is. I mean, they're very highly concentrated things. If you add a couple of drops to styrofoam, if you add a couple of drops to wood, if you add a couple of drops to metal, to paint, to anything, you are going to find that unlike water or even a regular carrier oil that will drip off or run off, it's actually going to eat at that material. So we want to be very careful, and that is why when we use them even topically on the outside of our bodies, this is why we dilute them in a carrier oil. They are super, super concentrated. If you knew the sometimes tons of plant matter that is used to create even just small amounts and teaspoons of essential oil, then you can understand why they're so concentrated and why we only need a few drops when we are using them topically diluted on our skin, because they're that effective. Let's see. Aromahead is where I'm now in the Certified Aromatherapist program. Excellent. Danielle, when we consume anything not properly, you can get damage. Correct. I have been using them internally for years and I've had no damage. You may not think you are having damage, and I don't know how you're doing it. So if you can explain, Danielle, exactly how you are doing it. But our livers have to process everything. So even if you are consuming them via a capsule and consuming them diluted in that capsule so that you don't feel the burn when it goes down, your liver, your kidneys are still having to process that once they dissolve. Your stomach is still dealing with that when the capsule gets eaten away by your stomach acid and those essential oils are in there, which are also going to be eaten away. So it's kind of a waste in a way because your stomach can destroy a lot of it, but also your liver and your kidneys have to deal with everything that you consume. And over time, the longer that you do it, the more chances of harm that you will have. Your liver eventually will have enough. When you smoke cigarettes, you're not going to die of lung cancer on the first puff, but give it time, your body's going to eventually say, I've had enough. So I would not recommend that at all, Danielle. You dilute them with a carrier and use capsules. Your liver and kidneys are great. You have them tested every 6 months. Well, that's great for you. I don't know what you're ingesting. I don't know why. Can you tell me what you're ingesting for and why? Some people with chronic issues can temporarily deal with ingesting. There are certain, like I gave you examples before, peppermint essential oil for IBS. I've said previously, lavender essential oil for anxiety. That is something that potentially can be more beneficial than harmful. But depending on what you are using, I highly recommend that you don't do that at all. Jackie's saying oils that are pure essential oil will cause issues ingesting. Oils that are cut or diluted may take longer to cause damage, or a cut may not have high enough content of essential oil cause damage. Correct. There's a lot of complicated issues with ingesting. It could just simply get all destroyed in the stomach. It can still be an issue with liver and kidneys. You could be wasting it. It could burn going down. It could burn coming out. I mean, there's definitely lots of issues. And it also depends on which essential oils too. There are some essential oils that are definitely a lot more risky than others, and especially if they are pure. Oh gosh, Danielle, I definitely don't recommend that at all. Yeah, I do not recommend that at all. Okay, the On Guard toothpaste, using essential oils in toothpaste is something that's fine because you're not swallowing. But Fennel and Digest Zen, Danielle, girl. Okay, I'm going to pull up this. I need you to see this. Okay, so let's go to Digest Zen because I think I have that in here. Okay. I don't know who gets their liver and their kidneys tested every 6 months, but that is amazing. So Digest Zen contains fennel and anise, which are both potentially carcinogenic. They are both reproductive hormone modulators. So a reproductive hormone modulator is not going to necessarily show up in your liver work or in your kidney work. They're potentially carcinogenic, thin the blood. I mean, look at all these drug interactions as well, as just simply issues that could happen if you ingest these essential oils. It's just definitely not something I recommend. Let's go on over to the singles and look up the anise and the phenols exactly so I can show you exactly what's up, and they actually have pretty much the same. Safety issues. Look at this. You see this? I don't recommend it. Anticoagulant, potentially carcinogenic, reproductive hormone modulator. It's just not safe at all. I am not 100% against ingesting. I've told you 2 specific situations right here on this live where I'm okay with that in certain situations, but that is something I would never, ever, ever recommend. Allergy blends, inhalation is going to be very effective for allergies. You do not need to consume essential oils for that. Yeah, we have a client who went into liver shutdown taking Digest Zen and Slim and Sassy. I'm warning you now, I am not okay with that. So anybody listening, do not do this. You may be okay for a time. Again, you don't get lung cancer from the first puff of your cigarette. Some people never get cancer. Okay? There are people out there that smoke their entire lives and never get cancer. But the chances of you getting cancer are extremely high, or emphysema or something are extremely high, and especially the longer you do it. So I would highly suggest Danielle finding other alternatives. Like I recommended, inhaling essential oils for allergies is very, very effective. I can actually give you a link to the recommendations. Yeah, but there are some blends and some essential oils, it's just never worth it. So that can help you, inhalation of essential oils. And using a personal inhaler can be great. Using a personal inhaler to inhale your essential oils can be a great and more effective way than diffusing them. Okay, are there any other questions about essential oils and using them safely before I get off? If anyone else is here with questions for me, I'd be happy to help you. I've been trying harder lately to get on, guys, as much as I can during the week to answer your questions so that you don't have to wait for the pending post to be answered. And just so that those of you who are here live get some attention and you can actually get your questions answered directly from me without all the potential drama that can happen in a thread. And this is also a great time to remind you, be careful of other people who are here in this group giving you information that is contradicting the information that we are giving you. So if you are seeing a post from myself or from Roxanne, who's our other admin here in this group, and then you see a bunch of other comments that are contradictory to that confuse you, you know what? Go with what we tell you. Don't get confused by others' comments. And we try our very best to delete those comments whenever we see them, just to make sure that you aren't confused, because we want to make sure that the information that you are seeing in this group is 100% safe and is also kind and respectful. So you can use the report a comment feature if you need to, if you see anything that does not align with our group rules. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions from anybody. I hope everybody has a great night, and I will talk to you later. See ya.